Hello again! Whee! I know it's been a couple days since I put up a video. Weird shit's been happening. Well, not necessarily weird, but just shit. Depression sucks. Let's just say I didn't get anything done the past couple days. Well, small drawing last night. If you have my Facebook page, you'll find that, but yeah. Today's actually been a semi-productive day. I was up 6 hours earlier than I normally would have been. Do you ever have those days where you wake up, it's like, I slept really well. Wait, what time is it? Look at your clock, phone, whatever. Oh my god, I'm late! Yeah, I had to be down in the city, which is about an hour drive from Stillwater. So I head down to Oklahoma City. And it's one of those, shit! Luckily I was like 10 minutes behind, thankfully. Surprisingly how quick you can get ready in 10 minutes. Yeah, it's just one of those, why do we keep snoozing our alarms? We're not really getting that much more sleep. I guess it's one of those, I don't want to get up. Ian had the same situation this morning, yesterday, whatever the hell it was, where he kept snoozing his alarm. Apparently I was sleeping so hard that I didn't hear it, but he snoozed it from 7 until 8. Why? All of a sudden I just remember him rolling out of bed, the shower turning on. I'm like, what time is it? So it's twice today we've woken up late. Yeah. I remember why I didn't sleep very well last night. I went to sleep about my normal time. But for whatever reason, damn it all, it was one of those nights where you stare at the ceiling and think of all the things that you regret in life or feel guilty about. Or the random shit. Like, why is the sky blue? Why are crabs red? Do we really exist in a world? Are we the really only creatures in this galaxy? It's like the randomest things. It's like, how do people be productive? It's like, ooh, I have this idea. I'm gonna go draw it. So you turn on your phone or whatever, you write it down, wake up in the morning. What the fuck was this? I don't know what this was, so I can't do anything with it. Yeah. So, like I was saying, past couple days have been frustrating. Having some depression and anxiety problems with stuff. Like, I kind of feel guilty of sorts. It's like I'm a crap furry. I don't go to the events much. And it's like I finally drew up my reference sheet for my character a few days ago. It's like, that took me bloody forever. And it's like, I was looking at my artwork and I'm just like, this sucks. Nobody's gonna buy this. I looked on Facebook today. There's some really shitty artists. I don't mean to say that in a bad way. It's like, they have a lot of progress to do. That kind of made me feel a little bit better. But I don't want to sound like an absolute snooty bitch, so keep up the good work. Yeah, just like, be perfectly honest, my artwork was that shit too. But let's see, 4 years in art school, 3 years prior to that at Votech where I was using Photoshop a lot. And did I say high school or college? Anyways, art school, yeah, whatever. So prior to college, I was a CAD drafter for 3 years. I did mechanical and architectural drafting. So if art falls through, it's like, hey, I can get hired as a drafter. Cool. That's a well-paying job. Seems like they're always hiring for that. Engineers love drafters. For whatever reason. So I'm sellable? That sounds like prostitution. That's weird. So yeah, it's like anxiety and depression about being a fur and his artwork and such. I lose my train of thought here. Yeah, just usual shit feeling. So, yeah. Where was I at? cats and drones are funny. Ian got a like itty bitty little drone for Christmas, and the cats knocked it out of the air and broke one of the little propeller blades. I'll have to upload that video later, but it's just one of those, you can't help but snicker even though they broke your shit. Luckily we had some replacement blades, but it's just one of those, this is adorable but really teasing and funny at the same time. It's like, you know, they're annoyed by it and fascinated at the same time. Speaking of the cats, they were being little pains in the ass earlier and attacking my feet and my gloves here. I guess they don't like my hands being gone, but it's like they were chewing on my feet, and for whatever reason, my feet were chew toys today. Yeah, it was a different experience. Kind of hurt. They have little hypodermic needle-like teeth. These guys are about 4 months old, so I'm not sure if they're going to lose these teeth or get bigger teeth. I'm not exactly looking forward to that. So something interesting that's been kind of in the news lately is there's this Canadian psychologist, well, obviously in Canada, and he's kind of, they're trying to put in this new law where you can be fined for calling somebody the wrong gender, like for trans people and such, and how they're trying to create, the trans community is trying to create a new pronoun like they and zer. And I found this kind of interesting, don't take this as offensive, but a little redundant, because most trans people I know prefer they and them rather than he or she, his or hers. So it's just interesting. Something, I used to date a psych major for his undergraduate and went to counseling, and clinical psychologists are the ones who do research and such, and counselors do the actual counseling. It was really interesting because this guy was talking about how he's a personality psychologist and does research and stuff. Personality clinical psychologist. So he does research over personalities, the whole ocean thing, openness, damn it, now I don't remember. Whatever, extroversion, fucking neuroticism. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look that up so I'm not completely botching this. Personality. Because I'm gonna really botch this up. Okay. Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So now I feel like an absolute dunce for not remembering that. It's like one of those psychology things. I took that in freshman year, and yeah, I nearly failed that class. Yeah. Living with a psych major for 4 years, you think I would remember that too. But yeah, anyways. But this guy was talking about how social psychologists are a corrupted society. I just found it funny because the guy I was dating, his counseling group said clinical psychologists were corrupted. So it's just an interesting little thing where each side is thinking it's corrupted. It's kind of like the whole thing about heroes and villains. Like, are the villains thinking they themselves are heroes and that the heroes are villains? So that's a bit of an interesting thought. I was so excited. It's snowing. It's like we had a small dusting back in December. It's like, yay, it snowed. And like you look outside, oh, it's not even good enough to play in or like cancel school and stuff. So that was disappointing then. It's like I was checking the weather earlier. I'm like, oh, we're going to get snow tonight. I'm so excited. And it's like I look outside. And this is nearly 3 a.m. Well, currently. So about 2:30 I go outside. I'm like, oh, we got an inch of snow. I'm so excited. And it's like I was looking at the forecast, and it's like south of here, they're getting up to 4 inches of snow. And it's like I'm looking at pictures that are on social media and some of my chats. And it's like they're showing just absolute whiteouts and like everything's covered in snow. And it's like, ooh, oh, I kind of miss it because normally the northern part of the state where I am, we usually get a lot of snow. And, like, we used to get huge ice storms where we had 6 inches of ice one year. Yeah, you weren't going anywhere in that. So that was disappointing. Like, the ice storms, I was homeschooled, so there's no such thing as a snow day for me. I only homeschooled for about, let's see, kindergarten, 3rd and 4th, and then 7th grade up. So, hey, I still did the public school thing. I am not a social recluse. Yeah, I can socialize with most people, even though I'm a bit of an introvert and don't like people. So it's kind of surprising I'm doing vlogs. Anyways, so we had these ice storms, and I lived on a golf course at the time. And so we had the 6 inches of ice. And it's like February to March, with the humidity coming in from the Gulf and the still freezing winds coming out of the north and out of the Rockies. The stuff would collide and cause these freezing rains to come through. And yeah. So somebody decided to hook up an inner tube to the golf cart. And it was so much fun until, for whatever reason, my hand slipped and I went skidding out of control across the golf course and bashed my leg into an out-of-bound post. And this is like a metal post, so it's just one of those, ow, that really hurt. And then I had to walk home and ice my leg for the rest of the day. It's like I had a huge welt on my leg for weeks that just wouldn't go away. So, yeah. It's just one of those situations that royally sucked. And, like, yeah, it was just bad. It's like, ice storms are great, but it sucks as an adult because most of the time you can't get out of work. Yeah, there was an ice storm one night, and I had overnight one year. And it's like, I worked at the library, and it's like, oh yeah, the library's not closing today. I'm like, I can't get out of my driveway. My driveway is like a 30-degree incline. Yeah, not happening, and I'm not walking 10 miles to work. Sorry, I'd missed my entire shift at that point. So, kind of some funny, interesting stuff, interesting things today. My sister runs a Twitter page, and, like, she's always saying snarky stuff. Like, one of my favorite posts she wrote was, this is on the news, that this lady was donating a kidney and had make sure I'm not saying this incorrectly, she had a hysterectomy, and so all of her lady parts were taken out. And so, rather than creating a new opening in her side, they decided to go up through the vaginal cavity. And so, Angie, of course, her Twitter is @Janzie, JANTZIE. I'll put that in the comments. But she's always putting snarky stuff up. And yesterday she put a post up where it says, "Swing my arms out wide. Are you not contained?" And it's me at the Container Store. And the Container Store replied and says, @Janzie, is this not why you're here? Contain yourself. It's just one of those, how do you have that much humor in one person? It's like she's always being snarky. It's just one of those things that I myself put her as a role model. It's like, I want to be snarky like that. I know it's not necessarily a good thing to be snarky, but it's just one of those, I like that. I had a Twitter shirt, whatever, a while back, that came from her that says, "I'm wearing a Twit shirt about my Twit shirt. Crap, I think I broke the space-time continuum." Yeah, I'll have to wear that one night on here on a stream. So, yeah. Where was I going? Yeah. Oh, I was talking with a friend prior to this, and it's like we were talking about doing vlogs and stuff. He's like, I don't like doing vlogs. It's like I take myself too seriously. And so we were talking about doing a dual stream, because like when you have somebody else talking to, you come up with some really funny stuff, spur of the moment. It's like, I can't remember what we were talking about. We were busting up laughing, talking to each other. It's just one of those interesting things where you put two people with really dark humor in the same room, And like, we're always coming up with really snarky and sarcastic things. It's like, some people don't understand sarcasm. Like, wait, are you serious? Or are you just joking? It's like, I'm somebody with really dark sarcasm, and it's like, sometimes I'm being serious about things. People are like, oh, you're just being sarcastic. No, I'm actually being serious this time. Now, you're still being sarcastic. No, I'm actually being serious. This is something going on. Oh, okay. Speaking of dark humor, and like, this is kind of dark humor and stuff, but I spent time overseas in Britain. I'll have to go into that later in another video. But Brits crack me up. They say the F-bomb a lot. Like, I'll post this in the comments, but there's this video of this truck driver. I think it's Arthur Vines, but he's getting so pissed off at the traffic when he's driving the trucks. And it's just one of those, you can't help but snicker, because it's just like so incredibly funny that they're getting this frustrated. It's like, you see vines of all these different drivers getting really pissed, like near accidents. And it's like, you're a fucking wanker. And it's like, Brits come up with some of the most incredibly interesting insults. And I was actually talking to a British friend earlier, and we were talking about stereotypes. And he was like, yeah, for whatever reason, they think we're talking, Brits talk about Harry Potter and drink tea all day and all this stuff. I'm like, well, Oklahoma, I've been asked if we ride in stagecoaches to class and school and work. I'm like, no, we just tie up our horses outside while we go into class. They're like, are you serious? No, you dumbass. So it's just one of those, people really that serious? And the person I was talking to prior to the stream was born in Hawaii and then lived down in Florida. And he moved to Oklahoma, but prior to that, he's like, wait, where's Oklahoma? Yeah, it's just north of Texas. There's something north of Texas? Oh my God. It's interesting how people forget to listen to their geography classes. Somebody was commenting earlier that I grew up out in Arizona and Colorado and New Mexico kind of area. I'm an Army brat, so I've lived a lot of different places. So they were talking about, I was like, yeah, and I grew up like, people in Oklahoma don't know what cold is. Well, like, know what cold weather is. It's a very different, you hear the whole conversation about, oh, this is a humid cold. That's a dry cold. Cold is cold, especially when it gets to negative 23 at night. Yeah, that's bitter. That's cold. So when people are complaining here in Oklahoma that it's below 50 and it's like, oh, they're pulling all their winter jackets on, I'm like, I'm out here in jeans and a sweatshirt. This is nice. It's just interesting. It's like, I can't stand being hot. So in the summer, it's just like, I don't like this. I can do winter. I can put on more layers. I was like, you can only take off so many until you're practically stripping off your own skin. And it's one of those where you take a shower during the day, you go out, and you're still sopping wet. It's like, my hair's really thick. I'd come home at night, my hair was still as wet as when I got out the shower. And so just people and weather, it's interesting. But yeah, and so when people here say it's cold, to me, sub-zero, nearly said sub-freezing again, sub-zero is cold. Well, yeah, well, today we had really bitter north winds. It's just still, like, get way down there for be cold. And it's like, that was wind chill, was near sub-zero. And it's like, that's when it starts to get painful. I will admit the humidity does play a factor. Like, this is going to sound really retarded. I apologize, I don't mean that in a bad way. But as you get older, your joints, your bones and stuff start hurting when the weather changes. And it's like, I'm not as bad as my parents, I promise. Poor dad has had one hip replaced, one knee replaced, and he's going to have the other ones replaced, and then his shoulder's done. We're calling him Bionic Jim by the end of this. It's like, he had metallosis, and like, so they had to redo his hip and his knee. He's like, he's got a gold hip and a black titanium knee, if I'm correct. It's interesting. So he's like made out of all these expensive metals. So going back, oh yeah. So yeah, you start feeling when it gets really cold, and it's like, ow, this actually really hurts. So just, ugh. Yeah, sometimes cold hurts. Yeah, when I was saying I had to drive down to the city earlier, we had like 20-mile-an-hour straight line winds. Trust me, we've had a lot worse around here. I'll have to tell you this in a little bit about the microbursts that come through here. But 20-mile-an-hour straight line winds, and it's like I'm driving a full-size, low-to-the-ground car, and the wind is buffeting me around the roads. And I'm sitting here, these truck drivers just hauling ass next to you. I'm like, I don't envy you driving in this shit. It reminds me of driving to Arizona. It's like we'd go out there multiple times a year as a kid, and there's this one area in New Mexico where they're saying, truck drivers beware, this is really heavy wind. So, come on, brain. Oh, it's like you'd be in a normal car and you'd feel this whoosh. It's like you'd swerve out of your lane, and this is a 4-lane highway. And you're like, holy shit, that was terrifying. So it's like the wind here is different than out in the west. It's like that was huge winds, and you're like way up on the rim. So here it's different, but this is like these are plains and like large areas of flat ground. So when you've got winds coming through, you're not expecting it because you can't see any of it unless you're watching the grass. But you're supposed to pay attention to the road in front of you, not necessarily to the grass and the trees. And yeah. Anyways, so it's like driving home. It's really annoying. I'll have to admit, I'm not sure I talked about this earlier. I don't think so. But driving home, my hometown is Perkins, which is about 10-15 minutes south of Stillwater. That's where I'm currently living. But I drive through Perkins to get home. Highway 51 to I-35 and down to the city is actually slightly bit slower than Highway 177 to 33. Yes, I know, unless you live in the area, you don't understand that. So it's like, it cuts off some time. It's like, over the years, it's gotten better. It's like, but there's this stretch of road they haven't turned into a 4-lane yet. And this is going to sound a little more stereotypical for Oklahoma, especially if you come from small towns, you'll understand this. Driving on a 2-lane highway with a tractor on it. I was pulling my hair out because we were going 30 miles an hour down a 65. And I'm just sitting there, can you please just turn already? And it's like by the time we got to the 4-lane highway section again, and it's like he went off. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. And so I'm hauling ass to get to the city. It's like I was already running late. I'm just getting so frustrated behind this tractor. And then I got stuck behind somebody going 45 on the 70, and it's like, okay, this is stupid. And the person next to him in the left lane wouldn't get over. And she's like, freaking serious, people, come on, you could drive faster than this. So I was being a wee bit of a lead foot on the interstate trying to get down to the city, trying to make up time so I could get there on time. I ended up getting there with 1 minute to spare, which was impressive. But yeah, just driving is annoying. Oklahoma drivers are annoying, but not nearly as bad as Denton. Denton is just north of Dallas. People down there will recognize it. But Denton has some of the worst drivers I've seen anywhere. Los Angeles is bad. Dallas is weird. But Denton, every half mile, you'd see like at least 2 car accidents on I-35. That was bad. My ex, the psychology major, is from there. The dude had gotten into more wrecks outside of Denton, up here in Oklahoma, than he had down in Texas. It's just one of those, wait, this is kind of counterintuitive. She's like, but you come from one of the worst cities for driving. Are you serious? his driving is terrifying anyways. Yeah. I apologize, I've got to get a bit of a drink. I'm kind of allergic to my kitties, which really sucks because they're adorable. You can see one behind me. They're great little buddies. They're such strugglers. But it's like, they'll sleep on my head at night. Yeah. They'll also run across the two of us at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's fun. I had to lock them out of the bedroom this morning because it's like, Ian got up late, and it's one of those, I've got to get some sleep because I didn't go to bed till about 6:30. And so I need to get some sleep before my appointment because it's like, there's been times that I've kind of dozed off while driving around. I know that's absolutely terrifying, but it's one of those you kind of fade out for a little bit and you're like, oh yeah, because you hear your tires hitting the edge of the road. Zzz. It's like, shit, I'm awake now. So yeah. So I had to get some sleep earlier, and the cats started their bullcrap where they were running across the bed, and it's like, okay, you two, out. And so I kicked them both out. I shut the door. It's like I can hear them mewing at the door. I'm like, gosh darn it. Ah! So I go feed them for the morning, and I go back to bed. And it's just like, I feel guilty for locking the little buggers out. But it's like, sometimes you just have to. And it's like, I love them to pieces. They're chewing on my socks. They're great little buggers, especially when you get depressed. And it's like, kind of staying up at night, as late as it is. It gets really lonely. And that was something I was struggling with prior to having cats in the house. It's like, I wanted a dog, but Ian doesn't like dogs. He's kind of scared of them. We're working on that. So we got the kitties. But I'm allergic to cats. I'm better with them currently than I am with most cats. Most cats, I'd be just pouring tears. And it's like, I'm okay. I'm just a little allergic. Yeah. I wouldn't go over to friends' houses if they had cats because I'd be sitting there miserable and wheezing and would have to pull out the inhaler and be the stereotypical nerd. Sitting there in a book, rolling D20s. Yeah. So I'm losing my train of thought again. I'm out of notes. So, anyways, so, yeah. Lots of stuff. This is a nice long episode compared to my other two. I'll try to come up with more stuff kind of about this length, hopefully. I'll try and keep track of notes and things throughout the day, just random crap. I apologize, this is a little disorganized, but it's kind of fun. And this is kind of like what I would typically put on a blog anyways. It's like, I'm not necessarily complaining. I don't paint the world as perfect compared to most social media because, this is something I want to talk about too before I end this. There was a video that popped up recently about, I can't remember for the life of me what this dude's name was, but he's talking about millennials in the workplace. And, like, the definition of millennials, people have varying things, but it's essentially from 1983 to early 2000s. I don't remember what they call this next generation. It's bleh. So it's essentially the people who lived with the turn of the millennium, turn of the century, whatever. But he's talking about how with social media, we have horrible self-esteem. Like, if we don't have positive feedback, we feel really shit about that. Which makes sense. I'll admit, like with my videos, it's like, oh, nobody liked it, or Facebook, or if I'm in chats and no one replies to my comment, it's kind of like, this sucks. So I'm getting a little bit better about self-esteem. I don't think I have a pretty good self-esteem, but, like, depression stuff gets wacky. And so it's just interesting that we depend on the instantaneous responses of technology now. And it's just one of those, it makes you think things. I'll try and tag that video in the comments as well. But, hi kitties. You're destroying things again, aren't you? Where was I going? Yeah, I'm forgetful. This is kind of why I'm doing these videos. Yeah. So technology is a cool thing and a bad thing and interesting. It's funny, it's like when you leave the house, it's like you forget your phone. And you're just like, oh yeah, what time is it? Oh yeah, I need to take notes of this. Oh yeah, I have no phone. What do I do? So it's like typically I'll have a Sharpie pinned to my shirt. I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll write it down my arm. people are like, what is written on your arm? I've actually gotten flagged during tests from professors think I was cheating, and I'm like, no, this is my calendar. It's like I'm trying to keep track of appointments and things. So like, oh, okay, you can go on. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. So yeah. If I remember anything, I'll post it or like write it down to talk about tomorrow or whenever I feel okay to doing my next video. So for now, I'll talk to you guys later, and hope you liked the video. If you like this, hit like please. If you think my content's worthy of your viewing pleasure, please hit subscribe. I really appreciate any sort of donations or any sort of funding that helps me, because I tried to fix my mic earlier and it ended up getting worse and we had horrible feedback. I hope for the life of me that isn't this video, because that'd be incredibly frustrating and I wouldn't remember half of what this was. So yeah, I'm going to try and work on the mic again in the morning, or well, after this. Yeah. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Bye!